Moving and changes in diet slash exercise, does it happen? For me, Tanis Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle, it has, historically speaking, happened. And the change in diet slash exercise depends a bit on the move type and where I'm moving to. Not everybody I know has struggled with this. Some people do, and some people do in different ways. So for me, so depending on if there's a corresponding change of how I get my food, so thinking of college, moving to the university, on campus housing, or Greek row, how I got food in each of those situations was different. So my diet was different. It's different to live in a sorority house where there's a kitchen and meals and food available, kind of thing. So can go for breakfast, lunch, or dinner if there's lunch, kind of thing. And it's already in the house, versus with student housing on campus, like a dormitory, then there's allocated dining centers on campus. So then going to one of those, but that's not in the same house as me. So those are examples of changes in diet. For exercise, and talk through those a little bit more. So that's University of Washington, Seattle, Washington State, United States of America. With those, my exercise habits became more reliant on different facilities that were closer. So if where I'm moving to is further away, it's a good example because they were relatively close together. It's like, what, a mile away, the student housing from the Greek, a mile or two. So as a runner, middle distance runner, a mile or two matters, especially in a run. So I couldn't necessarily use the same routes, though I might have on occasion, but the run became, going out and back, that's 2 to 4 miles longer when I'm a mile or two further away. So that was, it didn't use that route as much in my running training. I used the on-campus athletic facilities building, intramural activities building, because it was a bunch closer, but a lot closer. So the change in, I think that was when I used the Burke-Gilman Trail more for running. So because it was like, I walk out of my house and it's down a flight of stairs kind of thing. So versus before it was, a mile or two walk kind of thing. So the what facilities are available, what roads are available as a road runner, what food is available, where it's available, changed. And with the Greek system, the food was in the Greek system. So on-campus food we didn't have covered, versus when I lived in a dormitory, on-campus food was covered. So very different food sources. And then thinking of later in life, when I lived in Hawaii, there was minimal to no change in my exercise and food, because I lived on campus in a bunch of different places, but they were all relatively close together. And I found a way to make time. And I liked to walk to the grocery stores. So like, it might have changed what grocery store I walked to, but I still walked to the grocery stores. And I was still, since I was at a point where I had like my major kind of thing, there was still like a central building that I reported to, so to speak. So walking from there that didn't change, even though where I lived changed. And this is moving, so then to California, into South Africa, and to Hawaii. So I would say the biggest changes in diet and exercise came from moving to South Africa and moving to Hawaii. And it was kind of an opposite end of the spectrum there, because I went South Africa back to Washington State for like a month and a half. No, is that right? No. Yes. It was a little under 2 months, I think. Month and a half to 2 months, but less than 2 months. And then I moved to Hawaii. And in South Africa, where I lived, the roads were relatively flat. It was a temperate climate, so to speak. Like it didn't ever get really cold, but it also didn't get really hot. And so I could run kind of whenever I wanted to run, as long as it was daylight out. And then I went to Hawaii, and the school had hills around it, which wasn't a problem. I was used to running in Washington State, but it was really hot and humid. and I couldn't quite, my system was like, so I did a lot more of like shadow boxing and stuff like that for exercise. And then I ended up using the on-campus facilities, which the gym got. They added an entirely new gym, like athletic facilities for the student body, like non-athletes, when I was there. And so I got to use that towards my end. But those ones came with big changes. The food was a bit different in those places than Washington State. In California, they still had Safeway as a chain, which is a chain we have up here. They didn't have some of the other chain, like grocery stores that we use up here. They didn't have down there. So there was an adjustment, but it wasn't quite like South Africa, where the American brands are like triple the price of the South African items. So it's like, all right, complete flush of the diet. You know, even the sodas I'm drinking are like South African flavored water, you know, so from local water sources in South Africa. So there was a little bit of like, that one was just everything. Everything went whew. And I became more active. I did a running with one of my friend Melissa Henderson, and I really became running buddies, and that was pretty cool. That's actually not something I'd done before that. It was just kind of part of the group dynamics. So I can, and I was part of a swim team and stuff, so I can do exercise with other people, though nowadays I do it alone. And then let's see, in Hawaii I did it alone exercise, unless it was like a hike or something. Then I did that with other people, kind of exclusively. Unless it was like walking a long ways, but that's not really the same as like going on a hike on a ridge. And then food was a bit different. It's a very different culture than mainland United States of America, Native Hawaiian culture, and so there's in the kind of history of Hawaii, the food was a bit different. The mainland United States of America, even though now a lot of people try and take it. It's like, well, it's not native to these parts, right? So there's that. Yeah. So moving and changes in diet / exercise, it happens. Projecting it forward, that could change quite substantially if I live with my soulmate and or soulmates, and especially if they love to cook. I've gone through phases in my life where I cook a lot, though that has interestingly enough not tended to align with my moving. So that's more like a living thing. It's more like I move, my food and exercise change, and then my cooking equilibrates kind of to whatever my living condition is. So that one actually is not really, the cooking part does not pair with moving for me. So yeah. Some people do that. That's like if they get really desperate, they'll move to a new place and do cooking in my new kitchen kind of videos. And nope, I've not done that. And this channel's been through multiple moves, including one with me posting videos like moving from Washington State to California. I did show some videos, but not like cooking a new kitchen or something like that. So cooking is a little bit more delayed than the diet and exercise. And then, especially if my soulmate and or soulmate share athletic facilities with me, or that's how I get access for training, and depending on where we're living, like running the roads of Arizona, or like, is there a track I can use? Like, that'd be hot in the summer. How does that happen? If I'm running the roads of Aberdeen, that one I can see. I've been there in Scotland. Those roads would have a similar feel to like Woodway / Richmond Beach roads. France, that's on, are we living in a city? That would be an interesting one. Like, but Toulouse isn't as big of a city as Paris, so maybe that would work. Hungary, I think they're potentially, right, going that way, potentially big changes for me for both diet and exercise corresponding with moving. So there we go. And I'm filming this Sunday, 31 March 2024. Happy Easter to you.